If you have a website that attracts a bunch of rather different audiences, it can be tempting to set up your global navigation to separate out your content by these different audiences. The idea is that this will separate out content that's irrelevant to each group and make it easier for all of them to find what they need. Nice in theory, but it often doesn't work so well for a couple of reasons. First, users don't often self-identify into a single audience group as neatly as we expect they will. This could be because they don't know which group they should belong to, they kind of belong to several of them, or they have some reason to believe that the information they're looking for might be reserved for one of the other groups. This is really common on healthcare sites, where savvy patients will often look in sections that are meant for doctors, assuming that the content intended for patients is too simplistic, and they hope to find more detailed information in the healthcare providers section. Second, this audience-based navigation often means that we end up with content that naturally overlaps between these audiences, and then we're forced to implement excessive polyhierarchy to put the same resources in multiple places. Sometimes, teams assume that some content is only relevant to certain audiences, and as a result, those audiences may never find useful resources. This is a common issue on intranets, where files that might be useful to other teams get ignored because they're siloed on a single team's subsection. Third, by starting with audiences at the top level, we'll need to add additional depth to the information architecture because we still need to categorize the content within each audience. So rather than having those topical categories at the top visible level, we've pushed them down a tier. Fourth, in some cases, this can actually reduce our users' trust in the site. I've seen users buying laptops remark that computers listed under the home category are essentially the same thing as the ones found in the business category. But the business category is marked up in price because businesses aren't as price sensitive. Now, all of this isn't to say that audience-based navigation is never appropriate, but we only recommend it when you have truly no overlap between your audiences, such as a site that serves both company employees and customers. Usually we recommend organizing the information architecture primarily by topical or task-oriented categories, and then potentially including a few additional categories for your individual audiences. But these extra audience-based categories should only be for content that's specific to those audiences.